Clint, we keep hearing and reading that the motion picture industry as we once knew it is dying or dead. Is it dying or dead?
I don't think so, no, because just when everybody pronounces it dying or dead, there's always a couple hits that come out of the woodwork. I don't think it's dying or dead. I think that there's been a slight amount of insanity in the past few years. It seems to go in waves. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, they went in waves. One hit picture comes out like The Sound of Music, where it makes an enormous amount of money at the box office, but it costs a fairly reasonable fee to do, and then everybody starts figuring, well, we're going to do big budget things now, and they keep expanding. In fact, I was in one, the Paint Your Wagon, which in those days cost around $22 million, I think, and that was like the 40s are now, and I think it was insane then, and I think it was the reason I started my own company, and it's insane now. Now it's even more difficult because the financing of films is so, not only the cost doubled, but the interest rates are so enormous. Most films are financed through banks, and the banks charge a studio 1.5 over prime. In those days, the prime rate was maybe 8%, and now it's 20% prime and 1.5 over that, so you get talking about 21.5% interest rates, and it's just absolutely insane because you make a picture for these tremendous sums that we read about all the time, 30 million and up. You're talking about $6 to $8 million in interest a year, which could come out to anywhere from $15,000–17,000 a day. And so no matter how much your picture is making out there, how it's doing at the box office, it's never really getting ahead of all this, the interest and all the prints and advertising, everything that's leaned against it. So every time you make these giant budget films, you're cutting the odds of, you're putting the odds of having to be one of the top 5 films ever made just to break even, much less get into a profit situation.
Is there one particular person, one particular element, one particular group, one particular anything responsible for the state of the industry today?
I don't think there's any one group. I just think that nobody manages the industry anymore or manages their pictures anymore. It seems like, this is very general. That doesn't go for just absolutely every project being made, because I'm sure there are some that are well controlled, but it seems like a person makes one picture and all of a sudden everybody says, here's the dough, go make another. They don't take into consideration there's got to be management. In the old days of Harry Cohn, Jack Warner, Zanuck, all those studio heads, they knew a little bit about picture making. They might not have been able to shoot films themselves, come down the set and actually kind of whip scenes together, but they knew a little bit about what was going on, and they knew when their coats were being pulled.
We hear a great deal about the deal. In my own reports, I have talked about the deal you have just seen up on the screen. We hear a great deal from the studio executives who say, the only way you can have a deal is bring me the head of Robert Redford, Barbra Streisand, Clint Eastwood. Is the industry superstar crazy?
Well, that is one of the ways they finance films. Yeah, a lot of times they can finance it through the package, the names of the actors, and the combination, who's directing, etc. But that isn't always the case, as we know. To make a hit movie, you have to have the right story, the right element, and it has to hit the public just right. There are those actors may be able to get the people going initially, but if the film isn't there, if it isn't a good movie, it doesn't make any difference who's in it. It's not going to go anywhere.
What about the large salaries from 4 stars? I know you often take less money than most of them. You get a percentage of your films. Do you feel anyone is really worth $3, $4, $5 million?
I don't know if anybody's what anybody's worth, really. I suppose if they raise this money based on that particular name, it's what the name figures he can command. It sort of puts he or she in the driver's seat. But I don't know. It's hard to tell what the prices are. Every one of these studios in town has 5 or 6 or maybe more vice presidents that are in 6-figure salaries, and yet they can't seem to be able to tell a director that he's going over budget and it's time to either shape up or get off the show. So who's running the deal? If some of these guys are worth a 6-figure salary, then I guess Barbra Streisand's worth $10 million. I don't know. It just depends on the management thing.
Do you?
It depends, and it depends on what that particular personality brings. If the story has suits them and everything, I don't know. If the picture makes $40 million, then film rental, or $50 million film rental, then everybody's a hero. And if it doesn't, everybody guessed wrong.
Do you think those astronomical salaries are good for the industry?
Yeah, well, actually, the cost of movies, and going back to this, what I was talking about earlier on interest rates and everything, and then plus every movie, every budget you hear about that costs, if a picture costs $20 million, you have to spend 10 for prints and advertising, so that makes it $30 million, and interest, that makes it $38 million, and you go on and on like that. It hasn't been pushed off on the public as much as it has been on the industry. I think that's the reason it's such a long shot making films of these astronomical prices, because the ticket prices, they'd have to be $20 a ticket to have any kind of an odds the way these people are going. But as far as the high prices go, I don't know. It just depends. I've always worked, my first film that I directed, Play Misty for Me, they didn't want to give me any salary, so I said, okay, I won't take any salary. I'll just give me a percentage of the film. The picture did well. I ended up doing better than I would have if they'd given me what the going rate was at that time. And it worked out, and for many years I did that. And now I find a balance in between there. So.
Has America lost the movie-going habit?
They lose it, they don't lose it all the time, because there's some movies that have done quite well out there in the last few years, but they're just being more selective. You cannot give the people what they're getting nightly on the tube. You just cannot give it to them in a theater and expect them to go see it. Why should they? They're getting a tremendous amount of variety of stories. Maybe they're not a variety of stories. Maybe there's an awful lot of sameness in the television series angle too, but there's movies of the week. There's good older movies being shown on television. There's cable television. To do movies, you have to think, you have to do a kind of a special thing. To ask people to leave their homes and pay to stand in line or whatever.
I mean, obviously you can see movies at home in your own private projection room, but do you go to the movies?
Well, I go to I don't see that many movies in projection rooms. I usually go with my kids. I usually go to the theater and pay for the ticket and go see it. That way I get a much better idea of what the public's feeling about movies, and a much better an idea. Sort of through them, I get a feeling of how they respond as well as how I respond as a different age group.
What do you take them to see, or what do you want to see?
Well, I like all kinds. I try to recommend them to see all kinds of things. Right now, my son happens to be nuts about, he loves horror movies and all that kind of stuff. But he likes good films too, and he likes, he gets a wide variety. I don't know exactly an example I can't think of. But do you want to know specific titles?
Yes, I was just what kind of a film you
Well, the other night we went to see Excalibur. Now, the kids have missed the whole generation we grew up with, where we had King Arthur legend type movies, and this was kind of a new thing for them. It was fun watching them see that particular legend told in a new type way. I think the popularity of the game Dungeons and Dragons across the country, which is they're absolutely obsessed with, might have had something to do with it. All of a sudden they see these characters come to life in this kind of a presentation. But that was the last one we went to. I suppose we'll go see The Outland tonight.
Just out of curiosity, does your son recognize the fact that the Excalibur picture, the legend of Arthur, isn't exactly the legend as you and I were taught the legend?
Oh yeah, because both my daughter and son have seen the Earl Flynn and various ones we grew up with on TV. But they understand the new approach to it and enjoy it.
People say the future in entertainment in films is pay TV. Do you see the day coming when you will make your services available exclusively for that market?
I don't know. I hate to predict that. I think it could possibly come to that. I think there's always going to be some reason for people to go out, and I think people want to go out now and then, go out and attend some sort of function. I think attending a movie with other people can be a pleasant experience. But I think pay TV will be the ultimate kind of convenience because of being able to watch it in the living room for people who have families and so forth and can't always afford babysitters or the inconvenience of trying to locate somebody to take care of that or the parking, all the other situations you have to go through. Pay TV might be it, but I still think there'll always be room for theatrically exhibited films because you get a chance to go out, maybe have a beer afterwards or a soda or whatever kind of an evening it is.